Hello everyone, thank you for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, religious leaders urge the government of the Republic of Cameroon to reduce the use of force in efforts to restore peace and normalcy in the crisis-stricken northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. They were speaking over the weekend in the southwest region, in the southwest regional capital, Buea. We shall bring to you details in this edition of the news. And out of the country, fighting continues between fighters of the Tigray Liberation Front (TPLF) movement and the regular army or the Ethiopian army in the Tigray region of that country. However, the army says it has captured the capital of the Tigray region, Mekere. Leaders in the Republic of Cameroon urge the government to reduce, or why not stop, the use of force in efforts to resolve the 4-year-long crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. According to the religious leaders, the use of military force has not contributed to solve the problem, but has rather aggravated the problem, which quickly switched from peaceful protests of teachers and lawyers to an armed conflict with many people being killed, others wounded, others displaced, others who are now internally displaced persons, and some refugees in neighboring Nigeria, while destruction, enormous material destruction, has been recorded in the two English-speaking regions of the country for the past 4 years. And the religious leaders think that government has to put an end to the use of force in efforts to resolve the conflict. And this is contained in a declaration. Smanjika and Gabriel has more.
As the Anglophone crisis continues to bring pains upon those living in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon with no solution yet, church leaders from the Presbyterian, Catholic, Baptist, Pentecostal, and Muslim have met in Buea to discuss the effects of the crisis.
It is our mission to continue to stand in the gap for our suffering people and to carry on the mission of the head of our different religious bodies, Jesus Christ, who is the Prince of Peace. So we do so as part of our religious duty and mission to the people of God in the different towns, villages, and cities in the northwest and southwest regions. And we think that it is a huge responsibility and a command given to us by Christ himself that we must do everything to fulfill.
The leaders meeting at a capacity building workshop with a theme, Peaceful Conflict Resolution and Sustainable Peace for pastors and church leaders in Cameroon, say if such gatherings were held earlier, they would have had a solution to the Anglophone crisis.
If we had had this 4 years ago, probably as religious leaders, we might have contributed a lot right from the beginning. But better late than never. I'm going equipped to continue until I personally see peace in this particular situation.
As one of the major resolutions taken by the men of God, they are calling on government to consider less and less military options to resolving the crisis in the Anglophone regions. Expectations were high at the end of the workshop.
At the end of the workshop, we will be able to function as effective instruments of peace, effective mediators of conflict, in our respective dioceses, in our respective religious communities, that we are able to give a message that is relevant, especially in the context of what we are suffering now in the northwest and southwest regions, and even in the far north region with Boko Haram and all of that.
According to analysts, they say the outing made by the clergymen is welcomed, but the time of talking is over. Now, people in the northwest and southwest region are expecting to see action on the field.
And ex-Boko Haram fighters in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon are urging pro-independence fighters in the northwest and southwest regions to drop their guns and embrace peace so that normalcy can return to those two regions and by extension the whole country. And speaking during the meeting, a ceremony at the DDR, the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Center in the Meri in the Jamare Division, far north region of the country, they express regrets for having taken up arms, inflicting pain and sorrows on their own brothers. Details in this report by Innocent Azi.
November 30th, 2020 marks exactly 2 years that ex-Boko Haram fighters dropped down their arms to join the Meri DDR Center. Atrocities and pain inflicted the population, they say, are regrettable.
Nous regrettons d'avoir fait cette guerre. On est fiers.
We regret having gone into war against our own brothers and sisters. We are happy laying down our arms. While in the DDR Center, these ex-Boko Haram combatants in their hundreds, with about 55 of them children, have either been transformed via education. It is not easy teaching these children who have never been to school and do not understand French. It is thanks to an ex-combatant who helps to translate in the dialect. Through him, we are moving forward. They are intelligent children. They memorize and learn fast.
Donc ils apprennent vite, ils captent bien les choses. Ils ont les mêmes chances que d'autres enfants.
Or through empowerment activities like sewing, mechanics, farming, to mention but these.
When we came, we don't start plenty things for Cameroon.
We have learned a lot in Cameroon, thanks to the authorities.
With open engine, everything where we don't learn from inside this Cameroon. So it's very thank you for everybody.
An opportunity the ex-combatants from Nigeria and Cameroon wish be embraced by armed separatists still in bushes in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon.
All the people where they live inside bush where we live, their concept, let them pull their gun, let them come for our side. Now we don't have any problem. We
beg the separatist fighters to drop down their arms like us and accept dialogue for sake of peace. Head of the DDR Regional Center dwells more on activities of these ex-Boko Haram fighters.
We have 300 ex-fighters in our center since the 13 November 2018. Now we have 180 here in Meri. We can see how they can do here to occupy this ex-fighter. We have agriculture, mechanic, auto, even the school. We are here to accompany them to reintegration in the future for our nation.
Commemorating their second anniversary, different competitions like football matches and gaming, often between the ex-Boko Haram combatants and the military, characterized the day. Same activities which always keep them busy in the center.
And back to the Anglophone regions of the Republic of Cameroon, the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Pauline Alova-Lyonga, pleads on civilians still carrying guns in the bushes in the southwest and northwest regions of the country to drop the guns and return to the normal life trend so that peace and normalcy can return to those two crisis-stricken regions. She was speaking during the visit of the CPDM Central Committee Secretary General Jean Kwete to the southwest regional chief town, Boya, ahead of the December 6 regional election. Derek Jado reports.
Days to the maiden regional elections in Cameroon. The 6 divisions that make up the Southwest region present their candidates for the seat December polls, who will be running on the ticket of the Cameroon's People's Democratic Movement, the CBDM party, to the party Secretary General Jean Kwete, President of the National Campaign Supervisory Committee.
Mr. Motombi Momemano.
Mrs. Ndangi Lilian Mengu.
The ceremony is taking place in Boya, the Southwest regional capital. One after each, the divisional campaign team heads in their presentations assured the Central Committee of the region's readiness. In her welcome address, Professor Pauline Alova-Lyonga, Cameroon Minister of Secondary Education and the campaign chairperson for Fako Division, said Cameroon is negotiating the last bend, and for those in the bushes, she pleaded for them to lay down their arms, come out and join the race for the nation to arrive this decentralization finish line in oneness.
To lay down their arms as prescribed by the head of state and come back to lead a normal life as we all put our hands on deck to make Cameroon great again.
Responding, the CBDM Central Committee leader reminded these candidates of the stakes and specificities of the region, and that if they fail to deliver, they will be held responsible for betraying their own people. Critics say expectations are therefore high to see how the new Southwest region will look like after December 6th, 2020.
And former Prime Minister Philemon Yang said that the 2 Anglophone regions should seize the opportunity of the regional elections for a rebirth. And Derek Jato, our correspondent in the Southwest region, ended with highlighting that many are expecting to see how the Southwest and, of course, the Northwest region will look like after the December 6 regional elections. And we stay in the Southwest region to talk about the increasing COVID-19 figures, and corresponding to the increasing figures, sensitizations that are being increased or enhanced by regional health authorities, who are urging all to continue respecting scrupulously the anti-COVID-19 measures prescribed by the Cameroon government and the World Health Organization. Derek Jato once more has more.
The campaign against COVID-19 is taking another reinforcement approach, and Dr. Eba Esana of the Southwest Regional Delegation of Public Health explained why the population of the region must stay consistent in respecting all the preventive measures against the pandemic.
Today, we are having close to 807 cases. Those have been contracted COVID-19 in Southwest. To say that is a real.
In Boya, a 3-day seminar for all the district medical officers of the region is organized to better apt these health personnel on how to tackle the second wave of the pandemic, which is imminent.
We are capacitating again our health staff to be prepared for eventually the second wave on COVID-19 coming, because across the world it's already efficient. So we are preparing.
And the United Nations World Health Organization was at the center of this 3-day seminar. Dr. Aliou Mustafa, WHO Southwest Regional Coordinator, at the closing ceremony came back on the input of his organization in the fight against COVID-19 in general, and the 3-day seminar in particular.
WHO, through the Pandemic Emergency Financing Facility of the World Bank, was able to secure some funds to support COVID-19 response in the Northwest region and the Southwest region. So we are actually in the Southwest region, where we are supporting the training of doctors and nurses from all the health districts in the region to be able to manage cases of COVID-19 well, and also to ensure effective infection prevention and control in the health facilities and in the community.
Other campaigns have been planned in the days ahead, and that will continue until COVID-19 is beaten out of the Southwest region, the organizers say.
And with over 37,000 HIV positive cases registered within the first semester of 2020 in Cameroon, health experts are stepping up efforts to reduce the infection rate, which is very high or higher among young people in the country, and 37 more persons have been tested positive with HIV/AIDS within the first semester of the year 2020. And the actual warn against the stigmatization, the officials are warning against stigmatization, notably of persons tested positive for HIV and AIDS. Immaculate Fogwe has more.
According to the committee in charge of fighting against HIV and AIDS in Cameroon, 37,435 new infected cases have been registered during the first semester of 2020, with a prevalence rate of 3.1%.
As of statistics gotten from 2018, there are 540,000 people living with HIV/AIDS in Cameroon. It's fair to say that there has been progress in the number of HIV/AIDS related deaths, with a decrease in the number from about 23,000 to 18,000 since 2010. There's also been a decrease in the number of new infections from about 36,000 to 22,000 within that same period.
The South and Central regions top the list of infected persons, which stands at 5.9 and 4.1 respectively. Adamawa 3.9 and East Region 3.7. Out of the 37,435 infected persons, only 30,061 persons are on treatment.
Statistics in Cameroon shows that 74% of people know their HIV status, and just 52% of that 74% are on treatment. That shows us that a lot of work has to still be done to up our goals.
In order to reduce the number of infections, the Ministry of Public Health, alongside partners, have begun carrying out free HIV rapid testing and awareness campaigns.
There have been lots of strategies that have been put in play by the government and other non-governmental organizations. Strategies such as the 1990 target innovation, which says that 90% of people living with HIV/AIDS should know their status. And of those 90% of people, 90% of them should be placed on treatment, and 90% of them should have a suppression of their viral load.
HIV is still considered a terminal disease, despite the fact that many carriers in Cameroon live a normal life. World AIDS Day, commemorated on the 1st of December, is dedicated to raising awareness on the AIDS pandemic caused by the spread of HIV infections, and equally mourning all those who have died of the disease.
Coming up, Charles Kmer takes us to the Nyong and Kere division to talk about the high rate of unemployment, not only in that part of the country, but across the Republic, especially among young people. And the youths in the Nyong and Kere division are worried about the fact that they are unable to pick a job, or better still, create a job even after undergoing training. Details in this report by Charles.
The mismatch of training and employment, discrimination in the labor market, weak capacity for startups, inaccessible and non-affordable key production inputs, particularly land, credit and information on innovation. These are the major problems for youth in Cameroon, reason why the World Entrepreneurial Week was perceived with mixed feelings in Ezeka, Nyong and Kele division of the Central region. We are celebrating this Entrepreneurial Week by calling on the government to come to Nyong Ikele and help us with jobs and opportunities because we are suffering. During the World Entrepreneurial Week in Ezeka, Nyong and Kele division of the Central region of Cameroon, the delegate of small and medium-sized enterprises, Awa Tango Alphonse, mobilized the youths of the community and organized sensitization campaigns for students to have an idea of entrepreneurship, which is the future of self-actualization in the modern world.
D'abord satisfait de la tenue de cette table ronde et la venue de cette deuxième.
I am so happy I executed my duties at the meeting with the community. I am satisfied with the active participation of youths in Ezeka. We want to inculcate the spirit of entrepreneurship of youth in Nyong Ikele. We want them to know it is also good to work for thyself and not depending on the government. They needed to know that at their age they can already be innovative minds.
La table ronde nous a permis de comprendre.
After the meeting with the delegate today, we as youths understood the real meaning of entrepreneurship. We understood that we need to formulate good projects and realize them. Entrepreneurship is one step to the future.
Despite the good initiative promulgated by the delegate, the Cameroonian economy still faces major structural challenges. Indeed, according to a report by the Nkafu Policy Institute, 79.1% of Cameroonians believe the economic situation of the country is very bad. The report also states that the poverty level is alarming as less than 17% of adults earn more than 200,000 francs and 41.58% of households spend more than 40% of their income on basic necessities like food, clothing, and housing. Based on these statistics, it is urgent to take actions that will change the current paradigm and place the country in the positive direction.
Out of Cameroon, the head of the local forces in Ethiopia's northern Tigray region says they are still fighting near the city of Mekere, which was seized by government forces at the weekend. And Debretsion Gebremichael says that the Tigray, that is, who is the leader of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, also says his fighters have retaken another city. The government denies the claim and insists the Tigray People's Liberation Front has been crushed. Hundreds of people have reportedly been killed. Thousands have been displaced, while the United Nations and aid agencies have voiced concerns about the humanitarian situation. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed told the parliament that not a single civilian had been killed since the government launched its offensive early November 2020. With all phone lines and the internet cut off, it is impossible to independently verify statements from either side. Talking Point is up next. Today we are receiving one of the prominent traditional rulers in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. His Royal Highness Kombe Ndike Richard is the paramount ruler of Mondoni Tiko subdivision, Fako division in the southwest region. He is a December 6 regional election candidate for the Fako East constituency covering Moyoka and Tiko, member of the regional election list in that part of the country. His Royal Highness, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Le Journalist.
You were at the meeting in Boya over the weekend, the meeting that brought together traditional rulers, other candidates, and militants of the CPDM political party who met with the Secretary General of the Central Committee, Jean Kwete. What did he tell you about the upcoming December 6 regional elections?
Well, I think that It was a general message to encourage the electorates that they should ensure that a landslide victory is given again to the party as it happens in the twin election that just passed. And he called the attention of the people to be vigilant, knowing that the stakes of security are not the best. And he's talked again of still advising our children who are in the bushes should come back home, that I think this election which is coming will open up a lot of differences in the democratic scale of the country.
We'll talk more about that. How is the communities, how are the communities under your leadership? Mondoni communities in Fako subdivision, in the Tico subdivision, southwest region of the country?
I think that there are so many communities under Mondoni itself. And I want to think that the communities have been doing well practically within this period of the crisis. We know that crisis has really affected so many things like the agricultural management. You know, we had people used to come from littoral, come and buy food stocks like plantains and cocoa yams and other things, but they are skeptical because of the insecurity. So now our villagers, to take this food right to Douala, and some of them are not too used to. And due to the poor road, farm to market roads, the farmers are really lamenting. So I want to think that the communities are okay, but the economic impact within this crisis really is affecting us.
And the problem of roads is a permanent problem.
Permanent.
Almost everywhere in Cameroon, in the hinterlands, it's very difficult for people to transport farm produce from the farms to the markets. It's quite a difficult thing. In the Mondoni division, how are the people in the Mondoni communities, how are the people managing with all of these problems?
Well, I think we are becoming used to because the issues of the roads, and you know, even vehicles which you come to manage transportation no longer come again. They do transportation through bikes. So it is really difficult on us. It's not easy. The people are not taking. They're not feeling happy about it. But we'll still keep on calling on the government to see what they will do about that. I remember the last meeting we had with the Lord Mayor of the Tico municipality, who assured us that after this rainy period, we'll see what to do. And I think that one really helped to calm down the minds of the people, or give them some confidence that something will be done by the municipal authority.
And the people of the Mondoni communities, the Tico subdivision, the Fako division, and by extension the Anglophone regions, certainly expecting some changes, solutions to the current problems. And what are you telling them about the December 6th regional election?
Well, I think that equally I have to tell them the message that any honest father can tell the children. I'm telling them that if the opportunities are given to us, I think we put smiles on their faces. And if the opportunity is not given to us, we shall still lament as we have been lamenting. But we hope that this house, this regional council, and the House of Chief, there should be a certain level of reality into it. Because when you tell the people, you being a community leader, you tell them this will happen, and at the end of the day they don't find it, it is really poor. It helps to discredit a traditional ruler. But what we are saying is that we are begging to the government that the policies that will be put in place, what we are seeing in the text today, those policies to be respected.
The new decentralization code with the special status for the Northwest and Southwest.
That is what we're talking about. That the contents of it should be real, what will impact the population and convince them that there was a reason for the national dialogue and there's a reason for the special statute. Because if we get there, some differences or changes are not found, people will think that is a normal story we have been telling them, and we don't wish it to look like that. We want real policies to be put in place that will impact our community.
What are some of the changes that the people can expect?
Well, as we were just talking
and the House of Chiefs, what are some of the real changes that the people can expect from this?
Yeah, what the people are really expecting is that the economic standard of the place should be upgraded. The academic standard should be upgraded, because you know that some places schools will be appointed. They will appoint a school, it takes about 5 years, there's no structure, no infrastructure. Well, how does it sound? It's some sort of deceit. And the people are expecting that. Now that the community leaders who are their fathers are going there, they're expecting some level of truth and some level of effective promises. And for instance, we're talking about the conditions of the road. The roads are too deplorable. It's not good. We cannot pretend that it's good. It's not good. And if you honestly tell the people that would think that these things will change, and you get there, the possibility of making them change, you are not seeing it. How would you tell them again? It will be difficult. So we are really saying that the government should ensure that the policies which are put in place should be respected, and make because I think that this is a turning point, and if this regional house or House of Chiefs fails, I think we have a long way to go with these our problems.
Former Prime Minister Philemon Yang says that the December 6th regional election will be an opportunity for a rebirth of the two Anglophone regions that have been in crisis for close to 4 years. How is this rebirth? Do you think that is going to be an opportunity for a rebirth?
That is what we're all hoping of. We're hoping to see that. Because what we are saying is that if the policies in place are reality, and they ensure that they give the free hands for implementation as a regional assembly and House of Chief, so many things will be done, and it will be a real change and a rebirth. But if they are not done, if the policies are there, lack of implementation, no free hands to do the things, what are we talking about? Then when there's nothing, there's no change about it. We shall know weakness the rebirth is talking about.
There should be effective transfer of power and finances or financial means to the regional institutions, the regional bodies, to enhance or guarantee a certain degree of autonomy. That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm trying to say. Because if they have that level of autonomy and this financial disbursement and put into their disposal, and they allow them to do what they failed at, because they know what the community needs. They know the problems of the people. And if the opportunity is given to them, they will solve the problems of the people. But if the opportunities are not there, you know the problem, how do you solve them? So we are talking about effective decentralization. We ensure that all what is needed should be given in the hands of the regional house, so they can do the job and ensure the communities think that there is a change at this time.
All right. Now, talking about the campaigns, campaigns are started ahead of the elections that will be coming up on Sunday. How are the campaigns unfolding? How are they being carried on? At what level? You're speaking to who? I know that the voters are mainly the councillors, and at the level of the traditional rulers, they are also voters at that level. How are the campaigns unfolding?
I think that the campaigns were launched here. The original campaign was launched by the former Prime Minister, Peter Mafani Musonge, and the divisional one was launched by the Minister of Secondary Education, Madam Naloa, Professor Naloa. I think that from all what they told us and all the lectures they gave to the councillors and the chiefs, it's well understood. It's well understood, but I think that the chiefs have their own way to look into their own issues, because it was mostly focused on the party lines and the councillors who are involved. So the chiefs now have to put their own strategy to see how to meet their colleague chiefs, because their own all our own voters, electorates with traditional rulers. So we think that we are making a plan in the weeks ahead, the days ahead. By Wednesday, there will be a team to visit or to talk with all the traditional rulers in Boya. I think on Friday, there will be a group to talk with the traditional rulers in Tiko. That's when Tiko will include the Moyoka and the Tiko will all meet in Tiko. And why?
It is under the Fako East constituency.
Perfect. Then on the Saturday, we're meeting in Limbe, where we'll join the people of the AD now, the West Coast, and the people of Limbe will talk to them also, give them some advices and the directives how the elections will all go, and make them know that it's for the interest of the traditional rulers. We're trying to think that it has come the time that we need to reinforce the powers, the authorities of the traditional rulers. At times we have a little problem when it comes to this community management, because our brothers of the East, or how we say, the way they get to the throne is different from how we get to the throne, we as Anglophone people. So we want to try to correct some of those things. You see, for instance, I remember one time when a traditional ruler was put into contest to ride a bicycle for dictation before who won't take the highest will become a traditional. It's a hereditary. And so we need to, some of these administrative authorities who come to us should know the differences and know that when we talk about traditional values, maybe some of them don't even know. So those are some of these things we need to put in place, and we'll have to educate our electorates to know that it's a time for us to join and ensure that we'll have at least a landslide victory to ensure the government that they're strongly of the support of what is happening.
Among the traditional rulers in the Fako division, for example, are there many candidates, different lists? Are there? What is the atmosphere? Is it kind of a calm?
It's a very calm
and really kind of competition.
No. It's a calm atmosphere because we are fortunate in Fako that there was a lot of understanding and maturity was, exhibited. That at the end of the day came out of one list, which comprises of the head of a list, Chief Etina Munono, by myself, Chief Dike Kombe Richard, and Chief Esombe Nanyowe. Chief Munono Emmanuel is from Boya, while Chief Enywe is from Limbe. I am from Tiko, which now my candidature covered Muyuka and Tiko, while the one of Enywe covers the Edina, the West Coast, and Limbe, and Chief Munono of Boya covers the Boya subdivision as a whole. So I think that we have only one list. There's no challenging list, but by the law and by the text, we are bound to do what the law says. We have to campaign for people, encourage them, and so to ensure that everybody goes and vote massively.
Was it easy to reach that point of agreement? This should be the leader, followed by this the candidates coming.
It was not really easy, but with us, it was an easy show because we know ourselves, and we knew ourselves. So among the chiefs sat in their conclave and said, no, we want you to represent this one to represent, and this other person to represent. If there were some other interested persons, they just have to stay back quietly, and that's what happened. And so we think that we hadn't any serious problem about that. But along the line, something happened which we looked at it was not important. It was just some small interference, but I think that that one has come and passed.
You quickly managed it and
and we sailed through.
And sailed through. Now, after the election, what is going to be the influence of the traditional rulers in the management of the affairs of the people? How much will they bring in? To what extent can they go in contributing in the management of the affairs of the different areas?
The traditional rulers have an intention. They have that concept that they want to ensure that the communities have the best because they are the people. And now, after the 6th of December, while we are going there, the problem is not us going there. The problem is what we meet in front of us, the challenges in front of us. If there are positive challenges, I think that our communities will smile. But we discover that there are things that are not related to what we are expecting. The communities will not smile, because we will say that. For instance, you want to get a car. You want to get a car, but there's somebody who have to ensure you have the finances to have the car. If the finances doesn't come in, how do you purchase? But you want to. So what we are thinking, we are saying is that the government should do all it can do to ensure that this regional house of chiefs should be a house that will exhibit a lot of honesty, which will rebuild the confidence of the common man and the authorities of this country.
All right, His Royal Highness, we are rounding up in some few seconds. Yeah. You have a specific message for the people listening to you?
I want to think that Cameroonians as a whole, they know the problems we are facing. And we cannot pretend that nobody knows the problem we are facing. The crisis which we are facing today, I think, is very paramount in the minds of everybody. And I want to think that we have to put our hands together as Cameroonians to see how we can solve these problems. Because even we talk about developmental issues, infrastructures, economic standard, upgrading this, when there is no peace, we can't go ahead. We are just pleading to Cameroonians that they should join heads together. We see how we can talk to our children, our brothers, to calm down their minds, relax and drop down their arms. Let's give another chance to this government. Maybe within these regional elections on the 6th, the government can show the common man and the population some confidence and trust.
His Royal Highness Kombe Ndike Richard, Paramount ruler of the Mundoni Community Stiko Subdivision, Fako Division, Southwest Region of Cameroon. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today. Equinoxe is up next.